hey, the new boss is
Hey,
in town, and
you
this
know
is
the
what we're
military. The
doing.
new boss is in town, and we're going to salute smartly and carry out the plan of the day. So there wasn't any, as far as I could tell, there was no passive aggression or passive resistance or anything. Like, okay, we're gonna. It's pretty clear that doing the same thing over and over since 2003, 4, 5, and into 6, we weren't getting any different results. When I first got there, I made the rounds. I'm talking to talked to the UN guys. I talked to our State Department guys, and this one guy, he was pretty dried up. He'd been there for quite a while, and I said, "Wow, it looks like we've got an eventful year coming up." And he goes, "Yeah, we've had 3 eventful years, and we've had 3 or 4, however long it was, 1-year wars. You know, our swap out would be, okay, those guys left, the guys that are coming in said, they don't know anything, and then they have to learn by the hard way, and then by the time they leave, the new guys come in, and they don't know anything. I mean, it was a kind of so the unity of effort over time from 2003 to 6 was focused on the Iraqi security forces, with the asterisk or the caveat that we had done some serious harm to that effort to begin with, because the Iraqi security forces that had been in existence had been disbanded. And then when Petraeus got there and the surge, that was a sea change in terms of, and they were results. We were getting, we were making progress on that. Of course, we pulled out completely at the end of 2011, and then guess what? ISIS reared its ugly head. So you'd had, Al Qaeda of Iraq that morphed into, ungoverned spaces like Syria, Yemen, Western Iraq. Those places just breed bad things. And so when the Iraqi security forces were just being torn apart by ISIS, in, what was it, in 14, well, we weren't there. We were out, and there was no way for us to. Anyway, that's a whole separate. That's a different.
Yeah, hopefully it's not foreshadowing for Afghanistan. But that is one
That's
of the
exactly
things
what
that,
happened in
big,
Afghanistan. And don't get me started on that. That's a painful subject.
I think what's most ironically enough, I did just interview yesterday Alex Pelbath, who was the air mission commander. He was the last C-17 that took off out of Afghanistan, doing the evacuation there. Just hearing that, it's very interesting.
It was painful. For anybody who's poured sweat and blood into this, trying to do that job, I was almost nauseated. I mean, I was sick to my stomach.
That's what I think a lot of us. He told two aspects in that story. He told many aspects that were profound, but having spent a lot of time there, and I think we all, this is something that's very frustrating, because how we cleared the runway, after the initial kind of just chaos there, like the 15th, 16th, 17th, he goes, it was the Taliban. We had to work with the Taliban. You guys got, the 82nd Airborne got there. The Apaches couldn't clear the runway. The 82nd Airborne couldn't clear the runway. It was the Taliban in their white robes with their canes beating people off the runway. And he said the leaving Afghanistan, it's this night, exfil, there was a group of Taliban that jumped the fence, and he goes, everything's blacked out. You're on NVGs. We turn to take the runway, and you see them over the fence, and they're just waving. He goes, if they knew what the middle finger was, that's what it would be. But that was their send off there. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Time will tell how that plays out, but my gut reaction, not a good thing.
I agree.
So sorry to digress there,
it's,
but yeah,
that's a rabbit hole I could go down very easily, but that's another day's conversation.